Nice. So I'm happy today because I'm seeing a bigger crowd than what I've been seeing for last 1 year here. So the workshop is about C++ programming. So programming is something which comes later. Before you do programming, you are required to understand what thing that you are going to program for. So that lengthy discussion we cannot have today. But I suggest you that you definitely should think about what is computation, what is computer, what is programming language. These are very important questions. Before you, at this stage, when you were earlier in school, you have learned programming. That time probably you would not have asked this question, but now since you have moved to university or institute, before you start programming, you should also see what is a computer, what it can do, what it cannot do, and this question has become more relevant with now this evolution of ML or AI and other things. So you should ask this question: can computer do everything? And then if you ask this question, then it becomes important that what is a computer? And then defining a computer is very hard. So today we'll not talk about any of these things. We'll only talk about the programming part, but usually when I am doing this entire thing, I will start with what computer system is, the kind of computer you are sitting in front of, what all components are there inside that computer, why it's important to know if you as a scientist or as an engineer you are going to do programming, why it's important to know what is there inside your computer, and as a normal person also, if you are going to buy a new laptop or a new computer, then what are the things, criteria that you should be using to decide what computer to purchase. सबसे महंगा वाला चाहिए, that answer is only applicable when you're giving he's saying giving, well it's not your money, it's your parents' money. Otherwise you have to ask this question, why? Okay. So I'm trying to motivate you to learn about this computer which you are using almost 12 hours every day, the laptop that you are using. Okay, so what kind of components are inside your computer or laptop, and why it is important to know if you want to do computation efficiently or otherwise as well. The second thing is, so that's the hardware part. The second important thing that you should be knowing about is the environment which is allowing you to work on hardware and what we call operating system. So many of you are using Windows operating system, some of you are using Mac, some might be using Linux, but then it is also important to know what this operating system is and why is that required. Okay, it's not that it is not required and you can directly make use of the hardware. So the importance of operating system and the decision to have which operating system is also equally important if you are doing any work, scientific work or engineering work. And there comes the next thing, that the workshop that we are having today is on C++. And this is a high-level programming language. Why is it high-level programming language? Because the language which is understood by your computer is not C++, Python, Java or anything like that. Your computer understands only zeros and ones. Literally zeros and ones, nothing else. It understands sequence of zeros and one and it knows what to do with that. But you are not doing programming using zeros and ones. You are doing programming using Python or C++ or similar languages, right? So now how is that possible that your C++ or Python program, you are able to execute on the hardware that you have, which has no ability to understand that thing. So there is a conversion required, transformation required from C++ to the machine code. So somebody has to do this. And then most of the time when you are working on your laptop, you are also listening to music, you are also doing web browsing, and you are writing your program, and then you are having 20 different windows on your computer. So you have practically some 200 or 500 programs running on your computer. So how is that possible that these 200 programs are running, whereas you hardly have maybe 4 cores or 4 processors available to run your program? So there comes the role of operating system. So I'm giving you a flavor idea about, and many times the computer that you are using can also be shared at the same time by other persons. If you have this computer, I can always connect to your computer wherever you are sitting. While you are working, I can also connect concurrently and I can also work on that computer. But I get an impression that I am completely owning this, and you get an impression that you are working as if you own completely. So this illusion is created by operating system. That we are able to run 200, 300 programs parallelly at the same time, and not only that, we are also multi-programming and multi-user. Multiple users are also able to use same laptop or same computer. So this illusion is created by operating system. So let's now move to C++. So C++, I have already given you idea. This falls in the category of high-level programming language, and it has evolved from C. And when you are learning any programming language, you are required to ask multiple questions. So the first question that you ask is that what is the programming paradigm this particular programming language is trying to tell us, or why is this designed. To give you an idea, C++ and Python both fall in the category of what we call object-oriented programming language. Okay, so there are two different big or broad categories in which programming languages can be classified, and one of them is what we call imperative style. In imperative style, we have several categories, and one style is what we do in C programming. The other style is what C++ or Python follows. This is for object-oriented programming. I'm giving you sufficient idea that this is a vast topic, and you should be curious about such things, that why so many programming languages. You should ask this question. Some of you are already doing Python programming, and now I'm talking about C++, and then somebody else will tell tomorrow that you learn some third programming language. So is there an end to it? And why should I learn new programming language? What is so special about it? And second thing is that if I want to learn a new programming language, how can I quickly learn a new programming language? That's another important question. So both questions are equally important. Why should I learn something new? And if I have to learn something new in this age, can I learn quickly fast? So what are the elements of programming language which will allow me, if I can understand that, then I will be able to quickly start my programming. So these are two important questions that you should keep it in mind. So we can now, so I'm directly jumping to programming. We'll start with the first program, and I have written a URL here. You don't need to type this program. I have already put all programs that I will be discussing today in one place, so you can simply download and you can work on those programs. You don't need to type it, so otherwise a lot of time will be required. This URL it's tinyurl.com/iplug. If you go to this URL, you will see a list of folders, and then please go to folder S2, I think, where you will find this program, hello1.cpp. Don't go to S1, go to S2. Are you able to find this? VI. You do VI.
Oh, Vim.
So you are able to get that file? Okay. So you are able to download file on your computer? Yes? Open a terminal now. Open a terminal. You know how to open a terminal on your computer? All of you are comfortable? Open a terminal. Whichever folder you have copied this file, in that folder you type G++. That's the name of the compiler and the name of the file. Do that. You can do that now. Okay. Right? Okay. So I'm assuming that you are comfortable, or you have at least learned Python programming. So we are going to do this comparison with Python so that you can understand where things are different and where things are similar. Okay, so we have a C++ program here, and the step that you have just executed is called compilation. So unlike your Python, which is an interpreted language, C++ is a compiled language. Okay, so in Python, when you run your program, there is an interpreter which takes your program and on the fly, while it's reading that particular Python file, it starts execution line by line of your program. So on the fly, there is no conversion. You can do conversion, but by the in default case, the conversion is done as and when the file is being read into the machine code by your Python interpreter. Okay? In case of C++, that's not the thing which is happening. In C++, we have taken our program and we have given it to another program which is compiler. Compiler is also a program and it gives us an executable when it produces final output. Is it clear? Where do you find the output? Can you see which file is created? A.out. So A.out is assembler's output. So the compilation is a long process. The last step is executed by assembler, so it produces machine code for you. How do you run it? On the terminal, you can do ./A.out. Run it. ./A.out. I give you what is the argument? You ask it to share somehow. Fine. So let's look at this program now. Is the first line looking similar, something familiar to you? In comparison to, I'm comparing with Python. In Python, you have this import statement. In Python program, you have import statement. We have similar statement here, which is #include, and you have less than and greater than symbol within which some file name is given. Okay? This serves very similar purpose as you have in your Python programming language. The way it is handled is different, but it serves very similar purpose. Here, the purpose is that we want to do input-output, so we intend to use a library called IOStream. Input-output stream we want to use. Okay, thank you. So I was telling you that IOStream is a library which is available in C++ and it is for doing input and output. We are doing input-output on console. When you typed A.out, program executed and printed hello on the terminal. This functionality is provided by a function which is coming from IOStream. Is that fine? Have you followed this part? The input and output is served, or the library functions are available in this, and that's what you are giving as first instruction. It's processed by a preprocessor in C++, which is going to include all definitions that are from IOStream. And the definitions that we are using is only for printing in this particular program. Okay? Now comes the second part. In Python, oh, you are not able to, oh, I forgot that. Okay. So now the second thing is that in Python you don't have this notion of a starting point. When you write your script, whatever statements are not inside a function, they get executed. But in C or C++, it is not like that. In C++, you have to have one function which is specific function called main function. Are you following? The execution starts from main function. Do you understand? If you don't have main function, then the program will not compile. So in our case, that the program that you have downloaded, you find a function and there is in fact only one function which is main function. Are you okay? Are you okay with the purpose of main function? So you can have any set of functions inside your C++ program, but it is mandatory to have a function called main function. When the execution starts, the first thing that is going to happen is the system is going to look for function name main, and main is going to be now the starting point of your execution. Okay, is the difference okay? So main is like any other function. In my example, this main function is not taking any input, and it's producing int as output. We will learn later if we will have time in some other future session what is the purpose of this int returning, who receives this value, etc. That we will see later. But let's go inside this main function. There's only one statement inside it, line number 4. You can see your computer screen because you have file available with you. You can look at the file which is on your monitor. Yes. So line number 4, we are calling a function called cout. A function with this arrow. So you are anyway. This require little bit of. Are you all? You have studied little bit of mathematics, yes? So you are familiar with one style of calling function or referring to functions as this one, f taking 3 arguments, isn't it? You are very familiar with this. There's another way which is also familiar to you is that you can do b plus e. This is another style of calling which function? Plus function. You are calling plus addition function on arguments d and e. Are you okay? Here this is prefix notation where the function name is appearing before and then you are giving 3 arguments to it, a, b and c. This is a binary operator, so you are using the property that binary operator is going to require 2 arguments, so you are able to write like this. But if you want to use the same notation, then you will be doing plus d comma e. This and these are one and the same thing. The only thing is that in one case when you are using plus, you are writing the name of the function between 2 arguments that it takes. Are you following? When you are using f here, this is the name of the function, it is taking 3 arguments. So these 2 things are also available in programming language. When you call Python function, usually which you have created, you are using the first method. But when you are calling addition, this is an operator. This operator takes the name of stream and it takes the string to be printed. So what are the 2 things on this 2 sides of this operator? One is cout. Are you able to see that? Cout is on the left side and string is on the other side. So this particular thing, if I am using the same idea, then you are taking a stream, and the second thing is you are taking a string and you are telling that this string has to be sent to this stream to be printed. Is that fine? Okay? Is the notation clear to you? So the name of the stream is cout. Cout is the standard output on your terminal. Go and dump this string, go and print this string. Alright? Is that fine? Why is this std : appearing before it? So we are using, are you all familiar with Python modules? You have used it? So, sorry?
So
Math, exactly. So if you have, math is a module. So can you have 2 functions, identical function name in 2 different modules? Can you have a function f appearing 2 different modules? It is possible? It is possible.
you have to specify that.
How do you do that?
So math dot.
Exactly. If you have function f which appears in some math module, then you write math.f. And if you have suppose new module in which again f is appearing, then I'm making my another name new math, another module dot f. So the function name f is appearing in 2 modules and they are different functions. How do you say which f you are referring to? You qualify it with the name of the module. Are you following this thing? When you say math.f, f inside math is a unique entity, distinct entity. When you say f dot inside new math, it's a distinct entity. But if you don't write math or new math and you simply say f, function f, then the system is going to demand that which f are you referring to? Are you referring from math or are you referring from new math? You give me context. So that is the reason you are supposed to qualify it with the appropriate thing. If you have done Python programming, you are already doing this. Or you say from this, import this. That's another way of doing it. Then you don't require this qualification. Are you okay? You don't require qualification if you declare it on the top that whenever I refer to function f, it is coming from math library. Then you don't require to qualify it with this one. So I'm doing the same thing here. Cout is coming from std namespace, as we call it. Here I'm taking an example of module. In my C++, I'm saying std is a standard namespace, and cout, this particular thing, stream variable, is coming from std namespace. So that's why here you are using dot, there I'm using colon. It's a minor difference in syntax, but I'm saying cout is coming from std. Okay? You can again avoid, similar to your Python programming, writing this std again and again, and that is what my next example is. Okay, so you have done all of this. We have compiled, we have run this program, and now this program, again, it is available in the folder. You can again download and compile it. There is no difference between this program and the previous program, except that in line number 3, we are declaring that whenever I don't tell you where the name is coming from, then you assume that it is coming from std namespace. It's similar to your Python. Can you remind me how do you do this in Python? From module, import some function name. Then you don't need to write this kind of thing, mat.f. If you say you are using date from date module, so you will say import date from, like that. Are you able to follow? Yes, we are doing exactly same thing. In line number 3, we are giving a blanket statement. We are saying that if I don't tell you about the reference to a particular thing which you can't figure out, go and search for that in std namespace. That is why in line number 6, we are no longer writing std : Why? Because system is now going to search for cout in this namespace, which is referred to by std. And it will find it, and therefore the compilation will proceed. So in this way you can avoid repeatedly typing std : cout. Yes, go ahead.
What is the difference between the include and using namespace?
Include is only going to include is having the namespace defined it. You can say that. Okay. So include is just going to, include can have many namespaces inclusion. In this case, what is going to happen is system is going to literally take the content of IO stream and dump it in this place and then start the compilation. Package. STD is a,
how many slides?
yes, STD is so we are having
ये show करना है ना
an area which we are creating, and we have std here, and then we can have many packages
तो
here.
ये नहीं show कर रहा था ना
That's what.
अच्छा वो उस पे
Okay,
black
we
में
can have
मतलब
we have IO stream and many other
वो
things
बंदा था ना मतलब
which
उसका
are
नाम नहीं पता वो
included.
जो यहाँ बैठा था
Is that fine?
उसने गलती से गलत मतलब टर्मिनल शेयर कर अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा
Yes.
So suppose after line 8, we want to use another namespace.
तो
So to
better
again
है
use
बैठना ही
that.
पड़ेगा
You can
वैसे भी
give on the
बारिश
line
नहीं
number
है,
3
वो
itself,
ट्रांसफर
you can give
हो
as many
मैं
namespaces
जगह
as
चल रहा
possible,
था
as you wish.
मतलब
He is
मैं
asking,
ID
can I
पे
have
बना-
multiple namespaces? You can have multiple namespaces available. Okay, fine. This is important. I'll come to you just 1 minute. If you, in line number 3 and 4, suppose you are saying using namespace 1, using namespace 2. Let's assume line number 3, you are saying using namespace std1, and then you say using namespace std2. And suppose std1 and std2 do have a common function name. A function appears both in std1 and std2, the compilation will not proceed. It will say there is a conflict. If you use that function later on, then it will say that I searched in namespace 1 and 2 and I am finding both it is available. You tell me what to do, I will not compile. In that case, again you will have to say I want to use std2's function. You can have a list of namespaces there in line number 3, 4, 5 that you can do. Okay, what is your question?
Sir, I'm a little confused about, so you made int and main.
Yes.
Here the output is a string.
Output is dumped on the terminal. Yes, that's right.
But it's a string.
Yes.
So I always get confused as to why is it like int,
Okay.
Why is, what is the name of void?
Okay, so I intentionally did not talk about this. When you start your, how did you start your program? you started your program by typing on terminal .a.out. Yes, ./a.out. That is what you have done. So who is calling this particular C program? Your terminal is calling. Your bash, your whatever shell that you are using, that is calling your main function. So it is the main function is being called by that. It's going to, main is telling, being told that I am not giving any input to you. Your terminal, okay, let's do one thing. I'm writing here. Suppose this void was not there and I had done something else, which what I'm not telling you now. But if you write a.out, argument 1, argument 2, that means when the shell is invoking a.out, it's giving 2 arguments. In that case, line number 5, the main function is no longer going to have void there. It will have some arguments being taken, which is also possible in Python programming language. You have RB, RC. Have you done that programming? Argument, command line argument. Yeah, so we are talking about command line argument. In my case, I am saying main void. What does it mean? It means that my current main is not taking any input from the command line. Even if it is supplied, it is going to be ignored. Is that fine? Have you understood? She has asked me, why do you have void? Void is saying that the command line is not going to give you extra arguments or values to main function. That's one part. And then she has asked me why I have int as return value. This integer value is returned to the terminal. Okay, so you look at line number 7, we are saying return 0. So 0 is going to be returned to the terminal. Now it is up to terminal what it wants to do with that. There is a way to check it to find what value is being returned. So terminal, so in the context of Unix, if everything is wonderful, then we return 0 value. In case the program is not able to execute properly and there is an error, we return non-zero value. So the terminal is supposed to be given feedback whether when terminal invoked a.out, whether you were successful in doing the computation or not. That's why in line number 7 we are doing 0. And this on terminal after executing a.out, we can check what output was returned by this main function. That I can tell you later. That's going beyond the C++ programming for which we are here today. That's shell programming. But shell, if it is executing 5 different programming sequence, program 1, program 2, program 3, and program 2 can only be executed if program 1 has finished successfully, then the shell has to know somehow that program 1's output is okay. The only thing that programs can tell shell is values, integer values. Non-zero values will typically indicate some error message. How you have seen Microsoft Windows, there is some error 0x111 something. Have you seen that screen? Yes, and then you go and search on internet what that error message is all about. You would have done this if you are using Windows. We are talking about exactly same thing. If return 5 was returned by my main function, then shell will know 5 and then it can look into a dictionary and then find 5 stands for which kind of error. Okay, so we are talking about, so if you are doing high performance computing, then multiple programs might be required to be executed one after the other. In the middle, if the pipeline has to break, terminal has to receive some input. So main void I have explained you. If we replace void by something else, what exactly is that we will see later. Then main will be able to receive some values like this one, and int is coming line number 5, which is getting line number 7, whatever is value, that value is written to the terminal. Okay, so I explained multiple things here. I'm reminding you again, we have discussed about the hash include part, which allows us to use the functions that are coming from input-output stream in our example. We have spoken about standard std, namespace. We have said that you must have a main function in order to start your computation. Without main function, it will not work. Is the summary clear to you? Is this all fine so far? Okay, we can go to the next slide. Yes.
What is the meaning of end L, previous slide?
Where?
It's in the previous slide.
Can you go to back?
End L.
End L. Oh, that is end of line. and you can work that.
The word means that it is not input.
That's right. I'll be telling you that you can't supply any input from the command line. I mean, you can supply, but program will not receive it. Yes, that's what I just said. Yeah. Let's go back to the next slide. Yeah. So execution starts from main function. Function returns a value in our example, but he said that if he doesn't want any input, you can say void main void. Then you will not have return 0. You will have only return statement. Your terminal will not know what has happened inside your program. Then the other thing that we have to notice here is that statements end with semicolon. Unlike your Python program where indentation is used for defining blocks and end of statement, we will require semicolon after every statement. It is mandatory. It's very common that when you come from Python, you forget about semicolon. Is it fine? So you have to remember this. There is no structure. The structure that you have seen is you impose on yourself, but you can write an entire program in one line also. That's possible. That discipline is enforced by programmer, not by the language. The other thing is that unlike your Python programming language where indentation is used to define a block, when you're writing if statement, you write everything shifted towards right hand side using tab or spaces. Are you okay with me? Yeah, here you are going to use this curly braces to define a block. Okay, so if you have if statement, we'll see that later. You will be using this curly braces to define a block. So whatever you write here, that will become part of the then part. In Python programming, you don't do this. You use indentation to define a block. If you don't write this curly braces here, only the first statement will become part of the block. Rest of the statement will not be part of the block, although you would have seen, I mean, even if you have done indentation. Okay? So that's another note. So remember these small things and then it will be fine. Okay, the next thing that is important when you come from Python to C++ is that in Python there is no limit on the arithmetic when you are doing. You can add, multiply, any kind large size numbers, but when you are moving to C++, your precision is limited to whatever is provided by hardware. Okay, so in Python you can do 100 factorial. System will print a very long number. But if you do same thing in C++, C++ will not give you any error message, nothing, but the answer is going to be wrong. So if you are required to know what is the maximum size of your number that you can handle when you are using C++. If you are likely to go beyond that, you require special provision to do that. Is it making sense? You can't do arbitrary precision arithmetic as you can do it in Python. Here you have to remember this fact that if you are adding two numbers which can go beyond, say if you are using 64 bits and it can go beyond 64 bits, then the answer is going to be wrong. Right? Is this making sense to you when I say precision? Okay, when you add 2 plus 2, 4, and then you again add, keep on doing, and then ultimately suppose you can only handle single digit. When you add 9 plus 1, then 1, 0, the 0 is going to be lost. That's what I'm referring to. And same goes on the negative side. Okay. Unlike your Python programming language, whenever you are going to use variables, you have to say what is the type of variable. You have to do that in advance. So you have to say that whether it's an integer variable or it's a floating point, it's a double or whatever it is, that you have to declare in advance. We'll see example, but I'm very minor things I'm telling you so that it will be. So you have this primitive data types available in float, char, bool, and can you see the name of the file? On here it is not visible. Okay. So there is another folder. Which folder were you using so far? S2, S3. Can you go and see MVP underscore speed 3? Okay, I have opened both files for you. Can you tell me, either looking at Python or C++, what this program is trying to do? Sum of squares of how many numbers? What is the sigma going from which number to which number? 3 million. Okay. Is that fine? So you have this Python program which is doing summation of I square, where I is moving from 0 to the 3 million number, okay, less than 1 minus 1, up to that number. Run this Python program and see what is the time that you are getting.
In C++ we get 0.
Yeah, can you now do can you tell me what is the time gain you are having, what is the speed up that you are getting?
0.259.
Yeah, so how do you do speed up? How do you compute speed up? Something is faster than something else. Python programs time divided by C++ programs time. What is that value? How do you compile the C++ program? You already seen G++, they have the file a.out. It's going to tell you how much time it has taken to do that computation. Now you get some time for C++, you have got some time for Python. Python is of course more, C++ is less. Python is slower. How much slower that I want to know, or how much faster is C++ I want to know? Both are same.
16 times.
How did you compute 16 times?
It gave me the seconds.
Okay, no. Which number you divide by which number?
No, so C++ was 0.01 and Python was 0.16, 0.17.
So how do you compute the ratio? Which ratio we are talking about?
Divide.
Do you divide it?
I mean,
You divide? No, you calculate. But which number you divide by which number?
the Python one by C++.
Okay, so Python time divided by C++ time, what is the number that you are getting? $16. Are you all able to do whatever I am saying? Done? Done the comparison? 16 times faster. Okay, in the same folder, you don't do it you are not required to do it now. In the same folder, you will find several other programs where the value of this n is not 3 million, it is 10 million. And then if you do the program if you run the program, you are going to get wrong output. Why is that? Because C++ is going to have erroneous computation after some time. So that's what is another objective. So I have taken the right value for up to which you can indeed compute sum of squares in C++. But you can of course go beyond this, but then you will have to use special kind of mechanism in order to do infinite precision arithmetic that you do in Python. It is also possible to do it in C++, but not the way using native type data type. Is this okay? The native data type cannot be used. That is the point I am trying to make. Those programs are also available in the folder. You can run them later, where the value of n is 10 million and the output of C++ and Python will not match. You will have error. Okay, so I'm trying, by this example I'm trying to tell you two different things. One example is you have to be careful about the arithmetic that you are doing, and the second is that you are going to have much more faster execution in C++ in comparison to Python. So if execution time is important for you, then C++ is important. Okay, the Python program is very easy to understand. In case of C++, we are making use of something called vector, which can be considered as list. in your Python program you have list, in C++ we have vector, both are same. There is a difference in the kind of thing that in list you can have any combination, any type of objects you can put, but in C++ when you are creating a vector you have to say what is the kind of objects that you are going to put. So C++ list or vector is heterogeneity is not permitted, whereas in Python it is permitted. Are you following? Can you put in a list in Python both an integer and a string at the same time? Can you do that? You can do that, but in C++ vector you can't do that. You can have a vector either of all integers or all of strings. If you want to mix two things, then you have to again create special things. So these are the kind of things that you need to know when you are dealing with data structures in C++.
able to understand what's going on. We can
Not doing, acha. So then,
like you can go to something. We are still stuck in hello and C.
okay. So how many you are still doing hello program? At a screen, or you can see your computer. Don't run this program, but you tell me what is the output. Don't run. If you are doing or you have done Python programming, then you should be able to tell me output. You have list B, C and A. What is line number 4 going to print?
The two lists inside a list.
Which lists are going to be printed?
The B and C.
B and C.
Inside.
Okay, let's write down. Okay, line number 5 when it is executed, line number 6, what is going to be printed?
So the same with one list by 9.
So you are going to have now 9, 2, 3. Okay. Then line number 7 and 8 are executed. Whatever is going to happen after line number 9 is executed? What's going to happen? What will be printed when you execute line number 9?
10, 11, 12.
Okay, I am writing it. We have to figure out question mark. Okay, 10, 12, 4, 5. Okay, question mark, I am doing that. Let's execute further. You have line 9 executed, then 10 is executed, 11. What is going to be printed now?
10.
What is going to be printed now? Same as this one? If you have not done this analysis, what is going to be printed, do it, and then you run the program. You run the program and see what you get as output. How do you run? From the terminal, Python, and this name of the file. Are you getting the output which is, you are not getting this output? Did you run this program?
Because it runs consecutively, so we first assign B to B, so the initial B is assigned, then we change the B. So it will be printed 1, 2,
Sir, in the last line there will be 10 and 25.
Here it is instead of 10. You have run this program?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is correct?
Yes.
This is fine?
No, sir, there will be 9
Where?
instead of 10.
Here it is 9. You have done Python programming, so what is the output that you are observing? Have you run the program on your terminal, or yes or no? Yes. What is is it matching with whatever you were saying? No, it is not matching. So what is the output you are observing? 9 to 3, 4, 5. And what is the other thing that you are observing? 925, 3, 4, 5. Why is that happening? So let us try to understand. This is another thing when you are learning any programming language, you need to know what a variable is and what is the meaning of equal to symbol. That equal to may be very misleading. Equal to has different meaning in different context. Okay? So So I'm telling you what happens in Python, and then we relook at this program, how this is interpreted. When you write x equal to 5 in Python, what is the meaning of this statement?
So x is a variable is equal to 5.
More than that, you tell me what is the meaning of x equal to 5?
Means 5 is assigned to x.
It's the same thing which he is saying. Okay, all of you please pay attention, please look at me. All of you, I want you to see me. We are having memory here, computer memory. That's what I was telling you. It's important to know what memory is. Please don't talk, pay attention. When you do x equal to 5 in Python programming, you are saying that fix a box in memory and go and put value 5 there. Okay? And then you are saying create a name x. Create a name x and then refer it to 5. Are you following what am I saying? You create a name x, you understand dictionary. Dictionary has something and the meaning is somewhere else. There are two parts in dictionary, a word and its meaning. We are talking about the same thing here. You have variable x and it is mapped to value 5. Okay, fine. When you do x equal to 6 after x equal to 5, what is going to happen? You go in memory and then create another box and put value 6 there. And then you remove this and then you make pointer to here. Okay? Are you understanding the idea? Your 5 is lost. What we call garbage. It has become garbage. That garbage is going to be collected later by system by some mechanism. But now your x is pointing to 6. Okay? So now let us look at this program. When you do b equal to 1, 2, 3, what is going to happen? B is going to have a pointer to 1, a reference to 2, a reference to 3. When you do b equal to 1, 2, 3, you are having 3 references. First reference is pointing to 1, second is 2, and the 3. Yes. This is in Python I'm talking about. It is list. That is a different topic. You come and talk to me later. Okay? So B is having 3 references. B is a list having 3 references. First reference is 1, second reference is 2, third reference is 3. Same is true for A, whatever we have done. C. And then when you are creating B comma C, what you are saying is that this refers to B and this fellow refers to C. Are you following?
Yes.
This box A is a list and list is having 2 references. The first reference is referring to B and then second is referring to C. And then when you do line number 4, it's easy to say that what is going to happen. Then you have rightly pointed out that you will have 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 getting printed. When you do B0 equal to 9, what is going to happen? The first element of list B is getting changed. So now this is no longer going to be, it's going to point to whatever value I am saying 9. But when again I print, A is holding reference to B and C, so I will be able to see 9, 2, 3 and 4, 5 as output. Are you with me? Now when you do D equal to B, what is going to happen? You tell me. That's the interesting thing, that is what we are struggling with.
D will refer to B.
D is going to refer to list, which is this list. B is referring to list 1, 2, 3, and there is another reference that you have created to list 1, 2, 3. You are now having one entity being given you are having two different references to it. Are you able to see this particular phenomena?
Yes.
Fine. So when you do D equal to B, and now you are changing, you are saying B is equal to 10, 11, 12. That means you are creating some another list 10, 11, 12, and then you are removing this and then you are pointing it here. Okay? Fine. But what is the status of A now? What is the status of A? A is referring to wherever B was referring to earlier. So it will continue to refer to this old list. That is why you see no change there. Places, system cannot assume that you are referring to the same thing. It will create that many copies. Absolutely right. Is this fine? Now when you do line number 10, D1 equal to 25, which list are you referring to? You are referring to the original thing which A is still pointing to. And therefore you see that output is 25, whatever it is. So first thing is B equal to 1, 2, 3. So that means that B is referring to, this is slightly misleading, but I am writing it, otherwise I will have to write one pointer to 1 and then write it. Okay? You understand that this is going to refer to 1 and this is going to refer to 2 and all that. Because x equal to 5 example that I started with, that explains the idea. Okay? Then you have C. C is 4, 5. And then you have A equal to B, C. So that means this is going to here and this is pointing here. Fine? Understood? And then at some point of time when I do D equal to B, when I do D equal to B, that means I am doing D is pointing to this. Is this fine? And then I see B equal to 10, 11, 12. Later on I am doing, well, I am doing line number 8, I am doing B is equal to 10, 11, 12. So what am I doing here? I am creating another list. Okay, let me do it here. I am disconnecting this and I am pointing it here. Is this clear now? I am repeating again the same thing. Now B is pointing to 10, 11, 12. But where is A's first element referring to? Which list it is referring to? It is still referring, you are considering, okay? You have references, you have this box. So when you do later y equal to x, so y will have its own identity. So when you do y equal to x, you are going to copy this value 6 here in this box. Okay, so you have this mutation going on inside these boxes which Python is not doing. Python is creating a fresh value and then you are putting it, and then it's using its own garbage collection to collect all the things that are, and then in the there you can do. Okay. So a variable, when you talk about in any programming language where state is involved, imperative as we call it, whether object oriented or anything like that, a variable has a type. Either it's Python, C++ or whatever it is. In Python, you don't declare the type, you don't tell what type it is, but in C++ you are required to, but it has a type. Whether it can hold a string, it is currently referring to a string, it is an integer or whatever it is. A variable has an address associated with it. This box which I am referring to, there is an address associated with it. And it has some memory utilization, how much memory it is, the data which it holds, what is the size of that data, that you need to know. Okay, then it has a value like 5 or 6 we are talking about. And then what is the scope of this variable? Within what segment of your program the variable can be accessed? In which block you can, if the variable is accessible only within specific portion of your program. And the last thing is variable as a life. It is going to go out of scope and then die sometime, and then it will no longer be available. So these are the aspects of variable that are important to be understood if you are doing any programming, not just C++ or Python. So let's go forward. Okay, hello3.cpp, can we now open? Which folder it is, can you tell me? S3, okay, download. So hello3, so okay, when you get bored you tell me, I will then stop. Okay. So my initial part is only focusing on input and output. Can you compile this program so that you can take some and then run it and then see what happens? Earlier I was only doing output, now I am doing input as well. Okay, I am reading also. So your terminal will wait for input from you, from keyboard. So once you run this program and then see output, then I will explain you what is happening inside this program. What happened? What happened? You're having difficulty? Huh? Sorry? Okay, just okay. Hello, whatever you have typed there, that's it. You gave any input, whatever input you gave, that's it there, right? So in this program also we are doing this same thing, namespace is standard. Line number 5, we are defining a variable max size which is of type int, and I am putting word const before it because my intention is not to change it. Once I have given the value, in our case we are giving 100, value 100. So this variable we are giving value which is not going to change ever. That's why we are saying const. If you drop const, then max size can be changed later on also. This uppercase is just a convention just to say that this is something which is constant. It's a convention, there is nothing special about that uppercase, capital letter. Line number 6, we are creating an array. Now it's different from your list. We are creating an array called input which can hold maximum 100 characters. So that's part of syntax, square bracket max size. And what these cells can hold in an array? Only character value. So unlike list where you can do mix and match, in C++ arrays we are saying in advance that I am going to fix only character values. At the moment what values are there? Nothing is there. I mean we don't care. But it has 100 boxes which can hold character value. So in picture like this one, you have starting from 0 to 99, and then each of this has potential to store one character. So this is a character array. Okay? Line number 8 we have seen earlier. Earlier you were printing hello, now it is saying who are you. So who are you is going to be printed. Line number 10 is different. Now this is the first time that we are doing input. So we are doing scene get line. So we are asking from terminal some input to be given, and we are putting a limit that terminal how many characters we can get, maximum 100 we are saying. Why? Because you are internally accommodating only 100 values. Okay, if your array size is 100, then you can at most store 100 values. That is the reason we are saying line number 10, take input from the command terminal, and the limit is max size. This is safeguard. And line number 12, whatever is received, hello and input, we print it. That's it. So we are introducing one more thing here, which is receiving input from terminal. Earlier we were printing, now receiving also we are doing that. Okay, there is not just one way of doing input output, there are many ways. I am giving you some example to get familiar with C++ programming language. Okay, I am giving you idea. There are many ways of doing input output. Okay, can we go to the next slide please? Yeah, so this, you don't need to download this, but then in this program I am reading age, which is an integer value. Earlier I was taking a string and then printing it. And now I have introduced line number 12 and 13, which is allowing us to read an integer value. So cin, which is the standard input, is going to give some value, and the type of variable age is int. It is automatically going to be taken care of that. Now I am reading an integer value, that therefore int will get stored. Earlier it was string value which was getting stored. Is that fine? Okay, so this is what you were asking some time back, and you can now experiment with this one. You can download this program and then run it. You can download, it's there in the same folder, hello5.cpp, and run this and see what happens, and then tell me what is the explanation for that. Now you will be able to give from command line arguments which will be taken by your program and then print it. Done?
It is only printing run the program with string and
With string and a number, that's right. So you are now required to give 2 arguments to your program. Have you seen this thing in Python programming? Command line arguments we are giving. Oh, you have not done that. Okay. So now you can, now when you are running, you will have to say a.out, /a.out. 2 arguments you will have to give. First argument is your some string, and the second is going to be a number, a numeric value.
सही था। इसको छोटा करके यहाँ पे मिला, छोटा करके ये कट रहा है ना, और छोटा करके बहुत छोटा है। देख मेरे ख्याल से ABS में जाएगा तो फिर ये थोड़ा।
If you now do this a.out, it is going to print a message saying that run the program with a string and a number. So it's expecting you to give 2 inputs from the command line.
थोड़ा नीचे भी ले सकते
So we are going to say some here, hello and 5. If you do this, then the program is going to execute line number 10 and print the values as you have supplied. You can give, yes,
almost 2i.
string to integer. I'm going to explain that. Okay.
The order doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
It's first integer, then string. In the main method, two inputs are getting.
Two inputs. The first one is a string and the second one is a number. Sorry?
The first one is an integer, right? Or are we?
No, I'm going to explain that. I'm going to explain. I've not yet explained it. Okay. Okay. Please, you run the program and then see what is happening, and then I will explain you what is happening. Okay. So you can do this in Python also. You're telling that it is not introduced, but I am introducing this in C++. Your main function is taking two arguments. The first argument is the number of arguments that are being supplied. argc refers the count of arguments. How many arguments are there? Including the name of the program. 1, 2, 3. The value of argc is going to be 3 when you execute your program like this one. If you would have given one more value, then 1, 2, 3, 4 value of argc will become 4. So main has to know how many things are given from the command line. Okay? And second thing it has to know is the value of these things, which is stored in what we have argv, vector of arguments, list of arguments. So argv is an array. Please ignore the char star part that we will study later, but you can think of strings getting passed from the command line, strings. Okay, so argv0 is your first element of your list or array in our case, and its value is this particular thing. argv1 is the second thing, its value is hello, and argv2 is the third value 5. Okay, how far can you enumerate argv? That is why argc is required. If you have only given a.out hello 5 and you try to do argv3, system is going to give you segment runtime error, a fault saying that you are demanding a value but there is no such value has been supplied. So in order to know how many are supplied, you require argc argument. So argc will tell you that number of values which are supplied is 3. So you have indexes going from 0, 1 and 2. Is that fine? And the first is 0 is the name of the program. It's an inbuilt feature. It's an inbuilt thing, which is also there in exactly the same way. You can do it in Python also. Python also has sys.argv1, argv2, etc. There also it is argv-rc only. Python program can also take from command line something like this, and there also you call argv and rc. Terminal is when it is executed, when whoever is executing it, that is supplying the rc value. That's right. It's a shell which is giving. Yes. Shell is invoking, and then that invocation is receiving. Is that fine? Okay. So is the idea behind, so we have mainly focused on main function only. So main function, because main is an interface between where it is called from and the actual execution. So when you have void inside program, you have no way of receiving this value, but now we have seen there is a way of receiving values. By the way, these values can only be string values. If you want to treat them as integer, you have to convert them to string to integer. STOI, we are converting that into an integer value, like this 5 value. Is that okay? So this value is a string value, it's in quotes. So we have 5 like this one. These are the 3 values which are supplied, which are all strings. If you want to treat 5 as a number, you have to convert that into an integer by calling a function string to integer, STOI. Okay, which is a function available in the standard namespace. Okay, so any programming language like this one, state oriented, require if then else. So our if statements are going to look like this: if condition braces, so that defines the block. In Python you can do indentation, but here we are using the curly braces to define a block. Else is optional, and again the same thing, and then you can use your relational operators. Modern C++ allows you to use and, or, etc. But then we are using symbols, this which are written in logical operator line. Okay, the first one is for and, second is for or, third one is for not. Okay, you can also use and or as you do it in Python, but it's customary to use these operator to look like it's a C++ program. Okay, you can have if then else inside if as usual as you do it in Python, but this is the general structure of your if statement. Is that okay? Go to next. Done? Okay. Next. No, go to previous slide, just one. Sorry. No, where okay. How do I change? Okay. This. So I've given you an example. In the same folder you will find if else. I'm also showing it on the projection here, projected thing. You have 3 floating point values. We are saying if A greater than B and B is greater than C, greater than or equal to C, A is largest, etc. What is going to be printed by this program without running the program? Can you tell me quickly? A is not largest. Okay, fine, good. So this, you understand the structure of if then else also. You need to, even if you don't write these braces, only the first statement will become part of your if statement. Okay, so it's a very good practice to always use these brackets so that you have very clear idea that this set of statements are part of if part, then part, and the other part is else part. Okay, can you go to the next one? Next slide. No, it's that is okay. I was confused. Okay, so I'm not moving forward. Can you write at least one program and then we'll stop this workshop? Okay, at least one exercise you do among all this, and if you are comfortable, you can do more than one. So the first exercise is take 3 numbers. I have given you several formats. You can take my program and modify it. You can either take it from the keyboard when program is executed or from the command line, whichever way you like. But write a program which will tell whether these 3 numbers, which are lengths of size, supposed to be length of 3 sides of triangle, forms a triangle or not. If yes, which kind of triangle? Okay. Second program is take a number and then tell whether it's a leap year. Third program is take 2 numbers and an operator and then do the operation. And the fourth one is median. So this does not require any loop, etc. It only requires whatever we have seen so far, if then else, and the basic input output which we have seen. Of course, if you want to leave now, that's okay, but then if you implement one, then I will be happy that you have at least one program you have done, C++ program. Done, finished.
No. What is the
Double, that is and. And. So ampersand is and operator, 2 pipes is or, exclamation mark is not. Okay, you can use English word and or not also, or you can use these operators. You can modify any of my program which I have given you.